Big got in that studio and said, I don't know why this nigga Snoop's calling me. I'm not telling this nigga where I'm at.
Biggie's ex-bodyguard Gene Deal has finally given us some important insider news about Biggie's relationships with different rappers. One rapper whose relationship with Biggie surprised us the most is Snoop Dogg. Turns out Snoop Dogg wasn't as close to Biggie as he pretended to be. In fact, Biggie never liked him. Gene Deal was Biggie's bodyguard and spent most of his time being very close to Biggie. So, he got a close look at all of Biggie's relationships. Now, after all these years, he is coming forward to clear some misconceptions and to set some records straight. Snoop Dogg has always acted as if Biggie and him were on close terms with each other. Snoop even says that he picked Biggie over Tupac during their controversy. When he was asked why he did so, he replied with this.
So, as far as me to respect Puffy and Biggie at that moment, that's what it was about. I respected their music. They sounded good, it felt good, and they were friends of mine.
He said they were close friends and that he used to hang with Biggie a lot whenever he went over to Diddy's house. Not just this, he even shared stages with Biggie.
What is it, me, Biggie, and Tupac on stage rapping in California?
Maybe at some point, the two might really have been close.
In New York at the studio, he played the song for me on his record, the one Dreaming of Lear Jets and Mansions and Coupes and trying to sell records like Snoop. Ooh.
At this time, Biggie must have really respected him if he was playing Snoop his music and even included his name in the song.
That record for me before he passed away in the studio, and then he was in the other studio with Premier working on the 10 Crack Commandments. He had 3 rooms popping at one time. I was in there with her smoking.
It's clear that the two had been close at some point, but good times don't always last and trust is broken as easily as it is built.
Pac had Biggie with him, and we was just on stage rapping and shit, and everybody was freestyling Warren G, Biggie, Pac, and Mike. When we all cool, we all chilling.
Was Snoop Dogg really this close to Biggie, or is it all a facade? Gene Deal says it was all just a media stunt by Snoop to remain relevant and to present himself as this nice, close friend of Biggie.
That's propaganda for the media, bro. That's something that sounds good for the media.
Gene thinks this was just an attempt by Snoop to paint himself as a nice guy, and he never actually cared this much about Biggie. He said, you know, I'm the peacemaker. I'm the one that's showing love. I'm the one that's out here when everybody else is dead, wishing that I could've did something to put the shit together. It wasn't all that love until Pac was dead. Gene says that when Biggie was alive, the two were never really that close. Or even if they were close before, they drifted apart and were not on very friendly terms when Biggie passed. If the two had been that close with each other, they would have met each other and hung out, just like Snoop Dogg claimed they used to. But Biggie never wanted to hang out with Snoop and even purposefully ignored his attempts to link.
What picture you see with Snoop and Big while they was out there? What restaurant they went to meet up? Where they get together and smoke? Big like to smoke, Snoop like to smoke.
The media likes to capture every single moment of these rappers. So how is it possible that the two were constantly hanging out, as Snoop Dogg likes to claim, but there's hardly any evidence of it?
Big got in that studio and said, I don't know why this nigga Snoop's calling me. I'm not telling this nigga where I'm at.
Turns out Biggie had been very vocal about his distrust of Snoop Dogg. He didn't even try to hide the fact that he didn't like Snoop Dogg at all. Anytime Snoop Dogg would want to meet up, Biggie would be annoyed at the prospect and then proceed to ignore his phone calls. That's not very best friend behavior, is it?
So is that your man Pots and Pants? That you in his town for 2 months? Y'all don't go get a burger? Y'all don't smoke no weed?
Gene says that's evidence enough that the two weren't close at all.
But it was a whole lot of love? Come on, man. Shit just don't add up.
If the two were in the same city for weeks and never met each other, then this means they were hardly on speaking terms with each other. Snoop has only been lying over the dead rapper for the media. Gene says again and again that Biggie was completely shutting Snoop out.
Big is saying, this dude is trying to get in touch with me. This dude's trying to find out where we going and what we doing. He said, I'm not calling him back on that.
This begs the question, why was Biggie so against being friends with Snoop Dogg? If he was going out of his way to avoid meeting Snoop or avoid taking his calls, then something must have happened between the two. Biggie hated Snoop Dogg because Snoop wanted to get the best of both worlds, remain friends with Biggie and Tupac. But that wasn't happening after the two fell out due to the shooting incident. Tupac and Biggie used to be incredibly close. From hanging out together to doing shows together, the two rappers helped each other grow personally and professionally. But things turned sour when Tupac got shot in front of a recording studio. Tupac lost his trust in Biggie as Biggie was inside the building at the time, and Tupac assumed he was in on it. He survived the attack but believed Biggie might have something to do with it, even though they did make it upstairs to see them right after the incident. Tupac said the crew looked surprised and guilty, but Puffy claimed they showed him nothing but love and concern, according to the Vice excerpt. Snoop Dogg says they were all close to each other before Tupac got shot.
We all chilling.
Right.
We on the West Coast. Tupac brought Biggie with him. We rocking. We let Cub get down with us. We go in the back, smoke, chill, hang out. It's beautiful.
The shooting incident messed up Tupac mentally, and he could no longer trust his friends. He thought they had betrayed him and stabbed him in the back. But that wasn't true after all. Biggie had nothing to do with the shooting.
And later information came out that the people that he thought did it had nothing to do with it.
So by him accusing people of it, it kind of set things off.
Now that the two former friends were suddenly rivals, Snoop Dogg had to choose a side. But he refused. He wanted to remain neutral and maintain his friendship with both the rappers. But Tupac and Biggie saw it differently. Tupac was angry at Snoop for refusing to cut ties with Biggie and for not standing up against him.
So we ended on a kind of foul note because he felt like I didn't stay down with him.
Snoop didn't help Tupac gang up on Biggie, which ruined their friendship, but he also didn't stand with Biggie completely or shut out Tupac, hence losing both friends in the process.
Every time I see you press up on Biggie, he didn't want it. So you want me to jump in and he acting like he don't want it? It don't make no sense for us to double team him and he don't even want it one-on-one.
Even though Snoop Dogg likes to pretend his friendship with Biggie never suffered and that they continue to hang out, Gene has now revealed Biggie never shared the same views. Biggie must have felt violated that Tupac has accused him of trying to murder him, and instead of standing up with him and believing in his innocence, Snoop Dogg tried to play both sides. Snoop Dogg even claims that Biggie and him cleared whatever misconceptions the two had when they met up in Atlanta. He told this in an interview, "It's just me and him, one-on-one," Snoop Dogg recalled. "And he giving me the rundown about how much he loved Tupac and he didn't want to see cuz die. And a lot of shit that he said and did, he was wrong for. He just was apologizing like a man to me, just getting an understanding on what he did, cause I never tripped on him for what he did. That was a dog pound video, that wasn't a Tupac video. And we got shot at, and the direct shot came from him. That nobody got hit, so we let it go. So with him apologizing to me, we became friends again." Snoop claims Biggie apologized to him for ganging up on him during the whole Tupac controversy, but Gene says this too is another lie Snoop is spreading just to look good in front of the media.
That's a Snoop Dogg story. You understand? But I can see you in Atlanta, but I can't see you in California at my own hometown.
It is clear Snoop Dogg's attempt to two-time both the rappers got noticed by Biggie and Tupac, and both of them lost their respect for him because of it. Now he is pretending to be friends with Biggie so that he can appear nice to the media. But people closest to Biggie know that it's not true. And Biggie had no respect for someone who cannot even choose a side. Fans of the rappers took to Reddit to discuss this complicated situation. One wrote that this is straight up snake material to try and play both sides, making diss songs with Tupac and then hanging out with Biggie right after. That's straight up snake material, so yeah, I believe Tupac had every right to cut ties with him. People think Tupac's decision to cut ties with Snoop as well as Biggie's decision to do the same were justified. They think Snoop was selfish and was only thinking of himself by trying to be on the good side of both the parties. One person wrote, because he felt that since he had went to Snoop's murder case and sided with him, he purposely jeopardized his friendship with Dre because of how much he sided with Snoop, and then when Snoop didn't do the same for the Biggie beat, he saw it as betrayal and that Snoop was playing both sides. Remember, Snoop also escalated the East-West beef at Soul Train Awards and dissed New York on his track New York. One thing's for sure, if Snoop had actually been speaking the truth and he were in fact hanging with Biggie, Biggie's bodyguard who was with him all the time would have definitely known. Looks like he's lying after all and Biggie wanted nothing to do with him. That's it from today, folks. Until next time, goodbye.